Okay, so we're about 40 minutes from completing this 4-hour bar. And that's going to be the euro dollar we're trading. So on the 4-hour chart, what is the why did the euro dollar drop so hard so fast? And I was inside the chat room at Trader's Way, and our fearless leader, Captain Pike, was giving a seminar. And so I was able to pipe in there, and I talked about the looming abyss, and I was talking about this giant cavern that goes back, and this is the dangerous thing about trying to buy into a 3-year or a 2-month void. And it's just brutal. Now, for a person with a 100 bip stop, it's kind of child's play. This comes down to position size and stop. Obviously, in a perfect world with no spread, no commissions, as you increase your size to keep your dollar amount the same, percentage of account, although that's the argument for me, is percentage of account is meaningless if 2% of your account is equal to 86K, because that's 2% of your account, and your system, you think your system is so good. Oh no, you don't understand. This is Fibonacci. It doesn't matter. You're making one decision. It's hilarious. Who drives their car in third gear all the time? Well, we do. I mean, this is why we're where we're at. This is why you got these fuck nuts. They want to charge $700,000 for fucking, because I'm on a, because I'm texting somebody. So, are you serious? These are all scare tactics. This is like throwing shit all over the place. It's like those monkeys throw their shit around in the zoo. They get frustrated. Yeah. Here, please. So I had to take a break there. I'm in the middle of texting somebody on my Android, and it's not as easy as it looks. I mean, the fucking screen, really? Like, I bought a new phone, and it's got like on top of the key, as you hit the key, that letter pops up about 3 millimeters, 4 millimeters away from reality, right? It jumps up like, look at, that's what you pressed. I'm like, I know what I pressed. I don't know how you turn that off. I don't need to be reminded of the press, but let it go. No, it's unreal. So, well, we fell into this hole. Now, this goes back pretty deep. We're going back to last year. When this happens, if you're not paying attention, so say you're on the 4-hour chart only, that's all you're looking at. Here's the danger. Because support really is support. Like, this is support. I think we can agree on wick tips. There's no denying. And I know this guy from Britain says, oh, I can write a robot for that. You really can't. Because there's so much involved, right? I mean, the robots, like here, if you're not buying the euro tonight, what are you going to do, right? Now, I've been buying the euro for like the past 8 hours, like all out. I mean, all out. Now, I knew this was here. This is a low from last week. And this is the abyss. Here it is. So as I zoom out, here's what's kind of mind-blowing about the market is you could be on this time frame and you're looking at this going, now you may not know anything about what's going on, and that vacuum may not even be what's compelling this thing to break down like a butt whore through that price, but I do believe that is it. This is the daily chart. So if you're one of these meticulous candlestick traders, there's not okay, if you only got in on dojis, I'm telling you, if you're a trend trader, that's your entry. Now, there's no chance to get on the, like, so this fall through the hole. You should have been short. And so where's the trend trades? Just, this should be obvious. This is like candlesticks 101. It's one, actually, it's 90. It's better than 101. Sorry. It's whatever. It's the most basic view is, what is a doji? And I'm just not going to go for this bullshit about, well, it's a gravestone. You know, you'll talk to people and they'll say shit like, well, it's not really a dragonfly. It's not really a spinning top because, dude, if it's just got a small body, in fact, if it is a spinning top, if you have a small wick and a small body, that is another level. That's the ultimate entry for breakout traders. For people that want to put in brackets, now this is the most safest way to go, right? Because you're like betting on 2 horses instead of 1. You're not looking for, you win, place, and show. So it costs you extra for the tickets, but you pride yourself in being a sniper. Okay. Well, you know, 8:30 right here. So we're about, we're 15 seconds from hitting this 8:30, and it's like the month starting. You are insanely trapped in the abyss. So yeah, now the abyss is gone. It's never going, just like these fucknuts that keep ratcheting this shit up. It's hysterical. I mean, if an NBA guy has to come out and tell you the truth, and then they're going to ban people for talking about things, you just, this clown world shit, dude. I mean, we talked about this shit when I was a kid, but nobody thought they'd live in a sci-fi dystopian movie with these fucknuts. Okay, so 8:30's come and gone, and here we are. So we're down under the floor here. Now, the same thing happened. This is the daily chart. I have to keep reminding myself. So what is the story here? What is the narrative, and how can you trade Fibonacci and all that stuff people talk about? Okay, I think that actually a big secret here is to just do wax on, wax off. So this is the wax on, wax off. So I think the first thing you want to do, and these are adaptive moving averages, this is trend line stuff, and the trend line is just there to give you a rate of change in momentum precisely. Now, it doesn't mean that you could survive entering at that trend line, and it may look like the best fucking trade in the world on this line chart, but there may be a goddamn 100 pip wick on the top of this bitch, which means they took it up, and I can only guess that this is not the highest price. This closing price is only, by the way, so this true tops become bottom structure, perfect setups here. You could put RSI on there, but you don't need it, and I could show you how to trade this, right? But this, you still have to be willing. And if you start with a line chart and say, okay, we're definitely down, we're down. Now, every hour, every 4 hours that we close under the floor here, I feel like, yeah, that's where I want to start loading up, you know. So if I fix the scale, and let's see, can we drop another 100 pips? We could, actually. They're just blowing this shit up. So that is a possibility. So here we're timing the market on a daily basis. So if you're going to trade tops become bottoms, and it doesn't mean that you can't get stopped out, right? If you put in, if you just say, well, here's a bottom, you don't need Fibonacci for this. It's beautiful. So you could, if you like that idea, here's a bottom becoming a top. So you put a sell limit in there. Now you saw that trading, whatever her name is, a trading girl, mindfully trading. So if you overshoot the runway here, you can't be so precise that, oh, I put an order right there and they missed it. All right, we'll put a cluster in I got a 25 pip window here. So each green line is 25 pips. So you got to be able to survive a 25 pip smash and grab. If you draw all this stuff and say, well, that's the kind of setup I'm looking for. I'm looking for something where, you know, I'm just going to get this 25 pip window. Accept that this, somewhere in here is the bottom, but this is where I think people have a problem. They can't accept that we may come into this 25 pip window. It's not a turn on the dime. thing. There is no 618. I mean, 618. Why don't you just go 62, dude? I get the 618 because you're calling out Fibonacci. You're saying, yeah. I mean, I could put a cluster of tickets down there, but if you're not aware of these giant vacuums that are just going to get smashed and reversed in maybe 1 hour, 1 day, if it's a baby vacuum, well, the first dip into it, you may drop 10, 20 pips and retrace, but then if there's nobody buying it, that means more people are selling it, it's just going to smashing down. So on this daily chart here, I think I could see the kind of buying new lows here or buying new lows and beyond. If I was to take the opposite trade that somebody's selling here, maybe, right? For whatever reason, you may have a 200 period moving average out there. The funny thing is about trading a setup without regard to trend. Does this look like a support become resistance? Sure. I mean, if I said to a kid, they wouldn't even question it. They'd be like, oh, this looks like here, here. And I'd say, okay, if this is a bottom, it's supposed to become a top, this one, is that rule no good? Right? Well, the market did come back there. It actually came through it. And I could say something, well, you understand the cycles. You understand cycles. See, it has to take this long. See, this bottom became a top way out here. See, now you're kind of cheating. But if you use a 25 pip window rule, then maybe what's really going on here is it's not like people smart money trying to get on some dumb trend. Maybe it's just that it's ranging in this giant. It's just ranging. Yeah, if eventually it does the trap trade here, so it closes above the whatchamacallit here. So eventually, look at this perfect setup. It closes. One day it closes up here and it's trapped in the high auction, just like it was trapped in the high auction here. So this is selling new highs where when I guess you could say this is a double confirmation. You got a top become bottom, and you've got a mini auction going on here where it's closed up, or as the Mindfully Trading Girl would say, the last of the buyers. Well, for now, right? Because there's buyers here apparently getting trapped. People looking for the close above, and I'd always hear that when I was listening to people or trading books. They say, well, if it closes above, then you go. Yeah, but which above, right? Is it this above here where you start in, like this keeps closing above, right? So you're kind of chasing into this. And then inevitably, the sellers here just annihilate this support zone. So if you would have bought the first close beneath, I think it's here, and then maybe you buy here and here, so you're heavy long, then I suppose the trend line people who I'm waiting for come back, and this is a shallow pullback, and maybe this is a 618 in here actually. So there's the fractal version there. So this looks like it qualifies as a a 50% or even a shallower pullback. So just throwing out all these things, that people talk about, the Fibonacci stuff. So people can, so if you zoom into this, there is a point here where you'd have to say, well, we're coming back, so let's get in this pullback. The day it pulls back here, so we got. And it's the first time we can draw a trend line and close. So the market closes there. And it just rips. Now it just goes up like 75 pips here in 2 days. That's a fantastic trade. Now, I'm sure that there's somebody that's on a moving average system here, and they go, yeah, we sold here. It was overbought. It was in a downtrend. And, yeah, there's a guy going the other way in that trade. So everybody should agree. And you should be able to see the other guy's trade, right? Because you'd be looking at the other guy's trade going, oh, okay, I see what's going on there. And you're just not on that train. So the question is, if you're not in the market at all, you're flat, you're waiting to find a place to get in. Where's this place going to be? Is this going to be, oh geez, I'm assuming you're going to swing trade this daily chart, or you're going to precisely at the end of the day get in, and it starts going your way. Like as soon as it started going your way, you could have trailed the stop, or you could have said, well, my target's going to be here because this is the last known floor. Okay, well, you left 25 pips on the table, really, in essence there. So that's unfortunate, right? You would feel bad about that, thinking, gosh, what's wrong with my system? Maybe I should have rode that longer. So that's what I think. I have to split the difference there. Like if I was to just trade the line chart, and it's always a good idea to have a line chart because then it makes you really think about how easy it is to see a triangle here, right? Which is very difficult. If I'm going to turn on the candles, it's going to be almost like impossible for me to see a triangle there. Another, so what I'm saying is that this is the vacuum for me. This whole thing here is the looming vacuum and not the abyss. The abyss to me is if you took this thing out and this was a 3-year high, you'd see shit like this. You even go like this way. It goes so fucking fast it would go backwards, right? And waiting for this setup, oh, I don't think I could do that. So what I would do is buy the trap under the floor, right? You're underneath. To me, that's an entry. It rips up. Do I think it? Because I wish it would engulf, right? Would I ride that? No, I'd be getting out with my 25, my 50. And so you have to pick this. I think it's better to build a trade plan built on, are you a swing trader with a 300 pip stop? Are you risking $30 a ticket? It's $1,000, don't forget. It's still buying them. They call them micro lots, but where can you take $1,000 and risk whatever percent, $30 on 1,000? Like in the real world, you can't do that. So this is leverage, right? And so, it's not that much money. And this explosion here, like how many, you going to wait for this setup again? I bet you won't see a triangle that sweet where it just drifts down. There's nobody buying. It just keeps making new lows. And even the guys that buy new lows will buy and dump, buy and dump, buy. And where would you get out of this one? Well, you're supposed to get out the last known low. And there isn't one. That's why I think it's ripping through that vacuum so hard, because there's really nothing to stop it. There is no low. There's just these highs. So I think that's what the thing is about, is that, it goes ripping. And so every, there's nowhere to hang your hat on this. And these are swing highs and swing lows. When you're trapped on the floor like this, man, I mean, if you can handle buying into this amazingly brutal sell-off, I mean, forex is just brutal. Flat out, no way around it. It's brutal. Because look at how vicious, once you're under this floor, look how vicious this reaction is. It just blows your brains out. So and I guess this is the trend trade, right? This is it's not a 618 pullback. It's a fantastic entry. It's the only pullback. But where's the interference? There's no bottom. So this does not have here's the bottom it took out. So if you find yourself in these trades on the daily, and you might have got in some algorithm you built, but let's not get too complicated, because these markets really aren't like that. Where's the top become a bottom? So if you don't see that, oh my God, it's just a bloodbath, right? This is the bottom that's supposed to become a top. The market was supposed to come to here and keep going down, right? But it didn't. And so the first challenge is right here. I mean, this is the ripe area. It actually closed down 2 days here, and I bet there's dojis there. So to test yourself a little bit, to guess, well, what the hell is that? What do you think that is? That's another game you could play with these daily candles, because they're pretty profound. I mean, daily candlesticks to me, yeah, it tells a big story. I mean, it's a lot of information over 2 days with smoothed out data. Forget moving averages. Just look at a daily candle. It's so smoothed out, right? Can we go to the? I'm going to go to the chart here and see if I can turn the candles on. All right, so candles on. So let me guess. This is going to be like crazy doji. Now I also want to guess, like, what do you think the wick could be on some of this stuff before I turn the candles on? I mean, it's kind of a fun game, because if all you can see was the line chart, then you're like, oh yeah, that would have been pretty brutal, and then you can see new highs on the wick tip. So I think the idea of simpleton, or being simple, is that we look at the line chart first for our momentum, our trend lines. We could draw beautiful trend lines here that you won't be able to draw them very precisely on the closing prices inside of the candles, because you look at the edge of the candle and where this is dead right where the wick meets the wax. And so if I put on the, let's see, go to the, I can't see the damn tools because I put the, oh shit. I just blow that out. Wait. Okay, there's candles. So look at this. There is no wick on that. It's incredible. Look at this. Now, I was thinking there would be some insane wick there, but look at the bodies. So if I just curtain off the bodies here, and that is profound. Here, toggle between these. I'm just gonna move this stuff over here. To grab the edge of this is like a fucking contest. There. Just so I can switch back and forth fast. And then we'll go to the rectangle. So let's curtain off this guy. And then we, people talk about this stuff, but here's the thing. There's a guy I made fun of once, and he wanted to interview me and everything. But when he saw my video talking about his video, he canceled the whole thing out, right? Because he was like, I said, dude, what you're saying is so retarded. Why isn't it good enough just to sell in that box? If it closes in that box, or I'd say if you're aggressive, if it closes anywhere above here, from there to there, it's a sell. Would you be willing to sell everything up there if we ever went up there? Then the other thing is, he had the, oh shit, let me get this back out of here. So he had this, it has to close in 1/3 of the candle. I'm like, man, your rules are so insane. And I think this could have been a 1 hour chart. Like, who's assessing this on the fly on the 1 hour chart? Who's doing that? Apparently he was, and he's like, well, we back tested that, and I appreciate that people want to back test this stuff, but with that, it's completely silly one candle rules. Says, well, the one guy negated the trade. You see what's going on here? Let me explain this to you. It's Fibonacci, and we have a candlestick pattern, and they have to both be there, or we just don't do anything. We just go home. It's very particular traders is what we use. So here it wicks up, and I guess this is the trap into the abyss. If you look back, zoom out to just the wick tips now. So if you're really cheap, you're going to put your orders not in that giant 25 pip cavern, and this is why I think it's hard to tell a computer to do this. If you just sell these wick tips, like we have 3 higher wicks, and okay, so I'm going to just mark off the, let me go back to the line chart. So I'm going to, this is the view of higher highs on close. So this is the box, and this is less than 25 pip window of selling. And that's like the big deal, right? The big pivot, so to speak. Then you got this, these are the wick tips. Let me turn the wicks on. And I'm going to mark this first wick because we knew this was going to be a big deal if we ever made it up there. So anything above that, I guess I have to try to. Okay, so anything above that we sell. And we would have moved it up here, but it's just so insane. Anything above closing prices, I would say that is we never closed above that line. But look at all these entries. And what's funny is that this is the daily chart. So that means that, fractally speaking, if you look really close at this thing, we actually took out the high of 2 days into this window. Anything that closes above there, great places to sell, don't you think? But look how you had to wait 1 month for that trade, and right at the end of the month, right? Kind of near the end of the month. I don't know if this was, it doesn't mean it's going to always do that at the end of the month, but that's quite insane, right? That it went all the way down to here. And once again, you get that slightly longer, just by a touch, a wick. That's true support, I think. And certainly, if you're not near a long-term giant hole where the price hasn't been for a while, then I don't think you're in that kind of. So the fear here would have been, oh my God, if they take this thing out, they're just going to running up here now, right? Because this is a big vacuum, right? Just like this, once you started to carve this out, right, it was like, holy shit. Now, certainly the people that bought into that and dumped, that was a great trade in like 3 days hard down because it's taken this out. These shelves get taken out. Forget about, here's that wedge, right? So if you look at this wedge, and this is a huge deal price. And if you think about them taking out people's stops, that would be your view of what's going on there. If there's stops sitting here, and one day they pound those things, and of course once it takes this out, we actually come back to that. So if you put in your buy limits real heavy here in this 50 pip window, you would have to have a 100 pip stop on that to survive that, Think about it. You'd have to have, you're going to buy here. You got to have a stop down here somewhere. And you're going to buy all the way into that. So maybe you have a master stop here connected to all these tickets, and then you're just going to buy. And then this day, you just can't believe, actually, it's hard to believe here. And then here, it's kind of running out of gas because it's just not dropping as fast, right? But then, yikes, right? That thing just comes around like, all the way back and almost hits that wick, but it's good enough that it comes back to where you got in with your first ticket. And the first time it closed below there, but these are giant swing trades, and when the market gets all quiet here, and you get this kind of this choppy stuff here, where it's just absolute chop, like you buy new lows, you dump. I mean, it's really not going in here. Where this is that triangle that's forming, where it's easy to see that triangle when you look at the when you look at the thing. See, delete this. When you look at this line chart, boy, it sure jumps out at me, this wedge here before the explosion. So it's kind of hard to keep track because when you go to the candlesticks, there's this blinding amount of data there. So here it's the obvious, well, maybe not so. And it really depends how you do this chart, right? Like if you do it like this, oh, I see different stuff. Your classical wedge here, where it just keeps on compressing down. It's been in a major smash down, and its momentum's running out of gas. Then, wow, just insane retrace. Just mind-blowing retrace, right? And then it's still got so much to make up for here. This is a range. I guess you could pay this is your 50%, right? This is your. But that really depends on in the daily chart, really. I mean, here's a perfect bottom becomes a top. Dojis, and then it goes and plunges. Like here's your, and this is a great trade that you can't really see it unless you turn on the wicks. But say you decided to buy new lows here, so you're gonna buy new lows there, and this is the shelf, right? So here's the really heavy, and it only lasts for, I don't know, maybe just the news came out, that's all it took, and they just destroyed that on the news, That's possible too. Yeah, this is amazing. Now, would you bet the ranch here, like your life savings, and you wrote it down to here, and you're like, yeah, that's pretty good. That trading stuff's good. I like that. We made some money on that. Yeah, I bet. Jesus, right? Oh, it's still in that trade? Shit. Right? So it's just tanking. And we're going into this giant hole. So if you're looking at the weekly, I mean, we are below. So here's a 25 pip weekly wick. Look at this thing. Are you serious? Look at that. And it smacks off this. We're below the 1600 round. 25 pips below. And that is that's just a 1 year, like a 1 year low. So that's a huge deal. And I think once the wheels came off, the abyss really is this wick, and just look at this crush. So if you're trading with 100 pip stops, you're probably buying into this thing if you're a serious swing trader. But, look at this cute little doji just before the crush on the weekly. So the weekly doji, that's kind of frightening, I used to look at weekly charts because I had a friend that was like an investor. I said, well, look at this forex thing, because at that time the New Zealand dollar was trading at 50 cents, and I said, you really 50 cents? That's like a stock. I mean, it can only go up from here, right? And it went to like a 99 cents eventually. A couple of times up there, actually. I thought it was going to break a buck and just go nuts. I really did think that, and it didn't happen. But so the weekly is just a mind blower. I'm going to zoom in one level here. So look where you're at on this thing. It's just ridiculous, right? It's the week's not over. This thing starts off after the doji of last week and just plummets. Now, this is also the argument for getting in on a doji, small body. Look at on the weekly, there's only a couple trades here. You could have got in here, and you could have bracketed that. You could have bought a buy stop 50 pips above and a sell stop 50 pips below and let it go. I mean, I guess a non-directional entry, right? If you think it's going up, I guess you're just going to buy any close, any bearish doji. But the programmer robot does say buy every bearish doji. Well, what's it going to do up here? We know what it's going to do up here. It's going to do like a fucking idiot politician. It buys this pullback. Well, you told me to buy every doji that's comes back. It isn't an uptrend, Yeah, right, buddy. So, right? So that's the other problem. And look at these dramatic moves. I mean, this is mind-blowing shit here. Once you take this is the weekly chart, by the way. Once you take this out, holy shit. Now for the guy with a 300 pip stop, he's like, I'll buy there, I'll buy this, I'll buy that, I'll buy that, and then when it rips up, I'll just let it go. And when it comes back to here, which is the floor, and it goes ripping through, right? So weekly chart, man, you gotta wait a year that's like 2 months to get paid on that, right? And then here comes that robot buying this pullback again. Sure, he's right for a little bit, but then yeah, look at this. Look at these severe dojis here, and then just nothing really, no you know, okay, it went down, it went up, choppy, 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 then the market runs. So it's not very often. Let's see, this would be, man, this is a hell of a move, screaming out of here. Let me see, is it COVID? COVID's got to be on this chart. Okay, so let me get this stuff off here. Oh, God damn, I wish I would just jump back to normal mode. All right. Yeah, this is the corona down here, right? Pretty severe price action on the weekly. Man, that's just crazy town. But it's an unsustainable price down here when they rip it into this. And that goes back, so I go to the monthly charts. So that's a big deal, right? This is, there's some bad data on this chart, isn't there? Holy shit. Yeah, that's not good. Jeez, okay. Yeah, so that's not right. That's got bad data, but this is the election, maybe. We're just missing data for some reason. Okay, so we got, and so we could come down another, God, another 75 pips here. Okay, so we're coming up on last month's, we're coming up on a low from a month ago here. It's crazy, isn't it? Okay, now it is 9 o'clock. Do you know where your trade's at? 9 o'clock. And look at this thing, man. This is mind-blowing. Technically, it's a top become a bottom if you're strict about your top become a bottom on a wicks. Here's a top. But it's blowing through it, Oh. Monthly top bottom. So here is that. Here is the weekly. But since it's the new month, right? That's last month's low. Crazy. So daily, here's the 4 hour, 1 hour. Look at this, straight down hard on 1 hour. Coming up on the abyss. So more abyss here. I'm buying into this, by the way. So I'm going to go with a 22 pip stop. Let's see what we get. Oh, getting a deal here, so I'm getting stopped out, I think. Looks like it. Oh, shit, wait. Okay, I'm just going to keep buying with a 22 pip stop down into this. They're letting me trade really fast here, a Cedar FX. I'm just going to use the whole account. $5 grand. So I'm going to put in some scalps here. 5 to make 8. So that's only 80 cents. Here, it's 5 cents. Sorry, 50 cents to make 80 cents. These are $2 a trigger pull here. So quite the beatdown. Coming up on the lows from yesterday. We might take that out, but I'll just keep buying into it. $9.05. This should be a brutal 5-minute window here. They'll probably take out the low yesterday now. Or attempt to. Then we could just rip down, actually. Okay, so I'm down like $400, $500. All right, now I'm going to put my scalps in. 5 pip stops. Let me take some. Oh, I guess I reached my ticket limit. Oh, well. Oh, no, wait. Okay, there isn't one, apparently. I thought there was a limit. This broker maybe has a limit. Okay, so it's. We got 2 minutes left. So apparently this 905 is like a real big deal. Okay, so I'm going to stop buying. I don't want to chase it down here. So this is severe sell-off. Now that's the 1 hour chart's been updated. Let me delete the objects. So 5 minutes after, we still got a minute and 30 seconds, a minute and 15 seconds left. So, and we just got like less than 24 hours of trading left. So let's try to make it up to my targets, which is starting at, oh gosh, I think I've got a 8 pip target in there. Okay, so 8 pips. Gosh, this is, yeah, we should be able to get 8 pips, right? So we also just updated the 4 hour chart. Alright, so this is almost a shaved candle. A slight wick because we closed that. So pretty much almost a shaved candle there. Almost no wick on that last candle, but then see we smashed down in that 5 minute window at 9 o'clock. Okay, we got 5 seconds left, and let's hope that's the bottom for the moment. So we kind of have to crawl out of this hole and come after this high and take that out. Now we got a kind of a stairway of stops to, you know, if the bears are running trailing stops here, we got to go after those stops. So the strategy here is to buy this, buy into here, the new lows. So that was today's new low. If you just look at the daily chart, it's really that part right there. It's kind of hard to see, but you're just buying new lows. Of course, it's pretty tough, right? You have to see the weekly charts in the long view here. So always have to be aware of that. I suppose unless you have a 5 pip stop, you wouldn't even feel it, right? The market's dropping 100 pips in about, 8 hours, You probably wouldn't notice. They just shear your stops off. Let's see, get this better view. So we're trying to cash out into these lighter colored lines. All right, so that is going to be the 4 hour chart, is the 1 hour chart. The 5 minute chart is complete. Let's take a look at the 5 minute chart. All right, so we got a kind of a hammer there. So the commissions is built into the spread here. So the spread looks kind of bad, but actually there's no commissions. So if this spread goes to 3 or 4, that's pretty good. Now, the nice thing about having a buy limit pending is if the spread tightens up, you'll get filled on your buy limit. Because the bid doesn't change. But if the spread should change and you're buying into the market as it's plunging there, or you just have it sitting there, and I suppose, well, since we've only seen the bid prices here plotted in candles, I guess you can't really say that for the bid side because, yeah, I guess the whole spread does widen equally, so I guess you could say the same for the spread tightens up there and the market goes up a little bit more and you get a good, it's just easier to think about buying and having the spread tighten. See here the bid just went up a little bit. So the spread got tight by the bid coming up. So now it's about the 15-minute chart. Will be the next one to update. So really a giant fall into this hole. I started buying into this early, I think. Yeah, so I got in here with like 100 pip stops. And then I put in 20 pip stops here. Oh, 100 pip stop? No, I started buying with 22 pip stops here. So I think I got stopped out of something possibly. Yeah. All right, so now we're looking for a serious rally. And if you look at the 30-minute chart, you're like, okay, this thing just dojied out. Now here's another kind of, you know, severe doji, and then rips down at half hour. You know, look at these breakouts here now. If you had a, this gets pretty quiet here before it plunges. You know, I mean that's a drift and smash. And here's the first low I started buying into. I think a little ahead of that actually. Then I thought, well, if we ever hit this price, this should be a good place to get in, and let's hope we survive this. Right. This is the other on the 30-minute chart, right? So here's your 30-minute supply zone, I guess you could call it. A big buyer there, and this is also the last. So there's kind of a trap here. So if you bought because you're closing under the half hour closes underneath the floor. Also underneath this, the spread is like half a pip right there, right now. So if you can afford, that is your cost in the euro. And if you are cashing out right now, you're only taking about 3 pips off the table there. You know, it's not a lot of money. Okay, so you got this 4-hour candle, and I guess you're looking for some kind of rally to take us to here, and we're going to test that. That's the closest bottom I can find, but when you look at the line chart, you won't see that there is no bottom on the line chart. Here's the bottom on the line chart, so this would be your target, I suppose. Come flying back to here and get out. Or this is going to be confirmation. And once it starts to take off and recover from a 3-day fall into a 1-year low, that'll be the, okay, so let's delete this and go to the dailies. Or at least go to the 4-hour chart. So with the 4-hour chart, we gotta make it back to the closing floor, which is right here. So if we put in the line chart, we'd know. Right, that's simple. So see how easy it is to see a bottom here? Whereas you got the candles, okay, there's a lot of info there. For a 4-hour chart, here you could have sold 1, 2. There's 2 rallies here to sell, because you probably had a figure there's going to be some follow through, because that was such a vicious smash down. So it closes up twice. You could have sold these 2. Then I'd cash out. I'd start cashing out where the buyers are coming in. So even though I'm not going to make all that money, if I cashed out of here, guess what? If I was only trading 1 ticket, I'm better off than if I waited for the market to come back here, right? And if you're running a trailing stop, and I guess this is where the patience comes in, because if you say things like, "Well, why don't I just trail a stop here," you know, and then like that mindlessly trading girl, well, I'll just see what happens if they take me out and stop me out. Won't just be a lesson to me. Oh my God. Okay. All right. You're going to want that vaccine, I think. Right into your skull. Yeah, then the brain fog just kicks in right away, see? See? And you're going to like that. Because we're in Australia. I used to say, I used to drink KB Lager, and I used to drink Foster's. Foster's is Australian for lockdown. Yeah. Wow. Man, the land down under. You know that guy down there? Yeah, that's really brilliant. I mean, what is it? What is it, these people? We care so much about you, we're going to kill you. Oh, that's great. Looks like it's still tanking here. So they may take out the low of the day or no? as we what do they call it? Careen down the hole. So here's the 4-hour top bottom situated on my daily candle. So we gotta go blow through that price, right? That's the big challenge tonight. All right, so either that or we're gonna just keep on going lower. We're gonna dip down and take out the low of yesterday and go down another 50 pips, but we don't know that, right? We're saying, okay, well tonight, so 9 o'clock's come and gone. We got a shaved candle in the 4-hour. The 1 hour, can we maintain this price? Do we have to keep tanking? So if I faithfully buy this thing, every hour it drops, that's the other patience, I'm just going to buy this. So these are tough rules, like if you're going to buy this thing as it's tanking, wow, you better have some money, right? Because you're going to have to trade with such wide stops. You're going to have to put 50 and 100 pip stops in here. And you're going to have to only buy it every, you could buy every hour it drops. And never buy a rally. So that would filter out your position size right there. If you just go to the 1 hour chart, so you're only buying for 1, 2, 3 hours, 4 hours, I guess, if you take it all the way down through the floor, right? So that's the other consideration. If you go all the way to the floor, another hour, so 45 minutes from now, if it's down, would you buy? Well, if you've got it planned out how big you want to trade it, so I'm down $400 right now. I think I'm in about so 70K. Is that right? No. Yeah, because it's right. That'd be about 7 standard lots, I think I'm in, right? With yeah, because 100, so they're giving 501 leverage. Yeah, that's about. So here's the thing is, at $2 a click, that's what I'm looking at. So regardless of how much margin it takes, you could have 51 leverage. You're still going to be risking about 220. I got about 240 here, I think. I always put about $1 onto the ticket. That should take care of the spread and stuff on a 1K. I put actually $1, of risk there. I'm assuming the spread, or $2 maybe a ticket. I'm just going to keep clicking this thing till. All right, it's okay. I'm going to buy some more here. It's been 15 minutes. In the 15-minute chart, I said I wouldn't buy, but let me just say it's still down. I guess I'm breaking my rule there, but let's add on to that. Okay. I feel like I'm chasing it every time I buy when it's going up, but anything when we're down in this, every 4 hours it spends below here, it's definitely a buy, right? Because you're in the value zone, you're in the deep discounts. I think the big fear is, well, what if we keep tanking? Then what? Well, that could happen even if you're in the most perfect setup you've ever seen in your life, the 618, and you got the stars are aligned, and even like astrology traders are even taking this trade. It's amazing. Everybody's talking about it. The Bitcoin's in this perfect top bottom on the line chart. I wanted to show. If you're a Bitcoin, if you think Bitcoin's going to 80 grand, which I guess $66,000 is kind of like resistance here, or it's a new high. Yeah, you kind of want to buy here, right? Because you can make 20 grand on Bitcoin here. It looks like about 25 grand, right, per coin. I'm presupposing you can afford a $45,000 coin to make a measly. I mean, it's just amazing that you'd have to do that trade on leverage, right? Because why would you dump? That seems like ridiculous. I mean, you could trade forex and make more money in 1 month if you know how to trade forex than waiting for a setup on Bitcoin that just showed up on the weekly, which means the market has enough data now to actually get a setup going on the weeklies. Pretty amazing. We got in really early on this trade. Got in at higher prices there. And I think my targets are actually inside of this exit. So I know I've got some targets that are just above me. So that should be, yeah. So right here, actually, where I got in. So that should make up for being underwater by this much. But unfortunately, you just have to wait every hour to see whether or not it's a buy. So in 40 minutes, if it's still down here, it'd be 10 o'clock, and you'd buy it. I just don't like buying it when it's going up. So it's really difficult. You know, because even here, if I'd bought this smash down, I might buy a little bit at the market. So if I bought this smash down, I might chase that a little bit. That 1 hour chart, right, closes up, but I probably had some scalps that already scalped out. So why would you go to the 15 or the half hour chart? Because you'll see inside here a nice pullback on the half hour 15. And with a buy the one candle rule is if the candle's down by it, it fits in with that, right? So here you bought this because it's down, and you've got a reason, you know, for the trade. You buy it because it's down. Okay, let's look at this. Change the color here. God, I keep hearing these commercials about I gotta get vaccinated because I want to see my grandma. I want to hug my grandma. I'm like, oh my God, really? People fall for that shit? Well, I got a grandma too. Well, maybe I should get fucking ramped up on some experiments. Maybe I could play mini Fauci game. Is there the Milton Bradley? Milton Bradley came out with some game like How to Be a Socialist or something. They should come out with the Vax game. It'd be a great, you know, like, can you imagine that? My YouTube channel is dedicated to guess if I'm vaxxed. Oh, wrong. Oh, we're gonna have to put you on the ventilator. You guessed wrong, buddy. So if this closes up, I don't want to buy it because I bought so heavy down here into this. I don't want to add insult to vaccine. You're not allowed to even say the word vaccine, just so in case you're wondering. So there's the floor. We close below it, so that qualifies. Besides, it's Thursday night. So this rule about, oh, Wednesday night's the low. Okay, there's a low on Wednesday, but it might get taken up on Thursday and Friday. There is no always like this, or when you see that. That's why it's so difficult. That's why with all the supercomputers, you can't build a robot to handle the terrain of this chaotic train wreck of unfair prices in an auction that has really fulfilling a need of other imbalances and other things. So if you looked at copper, if you looked at lumber, I mean, people that went long lumber got gang raped. You know, chasing a market, to me, I'd rather lose money buying a pullback than buying a rally and saying, well, it's going to go higher. And that's the turtle trader's view. And the turtle traders, if you're familiar, from Jack Swigert book, the Wizards, Market Wizards, these guys are just like, we're just going to buy, if it goes high, buy high, sell higher, right? Go with the trend. They were trend traders. They got clobbered, They made so much money. Richard Dennis, right? They made so much money, then they started getting clobbered. Yeah, because guess what? The market started to go choppy, which they probably had a run. And some of these commodities, they trend. And even the forex, sometimes you look at that yen, you're like, Jesus Christ. But it's the same thing, and you're kind of cherry picking it to fit your view of trends. But you'll see a run in a market, and you'll be like, look at this thing. Are you serious? And it just keeps churning higher, and that takes out the 3-year high. The 5-year high just keeps going. There's pullbacks. So these guys are trading pretty wide stops, and I don't know what they're used for risk management. And they made a ton of money, and then they blew it all up, I think. But you'd have to, if you had such if you only had one approach to trading. So I guess the advanced traders, or the people that, if you could scalp it, sure, I could see the scalps that people are doing in here, like they're buying right now, right? Like, buy right now. Look at the tick chart. There you go. I'm up. I'm going to trade. You could buy this for the next hour. Buy, and chase it for 2 hours and then dump and make money. But if you chase, buy, and you never get out of that trade, you're not gonna make. Just like if I never get out of this trade, I'll never make money. But if my target is 100 pips, which it is on this trade, I'm going to say, I'm not moving my stop. I'm not going to change my risk. And then what I'll do is, like, say we'd taken out the high of Asia, so we have severe sell-off. We just nicked this thing, kind of like, oh, gonna go up? No, sorry. 1 hour candlestick, dojied out, smashed down, 2 hours smashed down. Holy shit. Now, if you were hoping to buy down here, well, you bought now, you're up, 5 pips. Let me see if I should start cashing out something here. I'm so close to cashing out. See, I'm on 8 pip targets there. I could be buying this, but I got my targets. I'm going to cash out now. Just before they cash out, they turn white. So it's funny because when it goes there, you cannot modify the trade. Like right now, I can move these stops, but when it goes, just before it cashes out, it goes white. That's probably the privileged part. But that's just what happens. Yeah. This account is double vaxxed. I'm sorry, fully vaccinated. Fully vaccinated, the board game. Oh, you got a card? You got a passport card? Oh, you work for the Postal Service? Oh yeah. That's like the do not pass go, or pass go, collect $200. The Monopoly game. I'm going to call Milton Bradley in the morning and see what they think of that idea. It's free. I'll give it to him for free. The board game. Fully vaccinated. See, I'm just not into chasing this thing. So 73. We're coming up on that target. Let's put on the one clicker. Let's dial this down in case we accidentally hit the trigger. You can set the default on here to be 1K because it's very dangerous. If you're used to trading 1Ks and you accidentally would pull it, even click on the screen here, right? Okay, we're about 2 pips from taking profits here. I want to see this thing turn white if we get that high. Okay, 9:30 is coming. We're going to go to the half-hour chart. Wow. So we got to take out this high from a half hour ago. That's going to be the first obstacle. And hopefully you could just crush through that, just blow through that in the 5-minute window after 9:30. And then we could just start cutting through, and we got to take out this price up here, which is the high of Asia. And this would be the first kind of resistance, last known low. So this whole thing, there'll be people cashing out. So I'm cashing out of something there, and as soon as that happens, I'm going to put in buy limits if I want to maintain the same size for the whole ride, and assume that, yeah, there'll be sellers there, and it'll pull back. So if I've already cashed out and freed up some margin, and I bank something, if I'm thinking that this is going to retrace 100 pips, then I'm definitely going to put in buy limits. And I just have double clicks here. I don't have the ones where I can hand place them on this. I didn't load anything on here but market orders and a few buy limits. So here I kept this all double clicked, this account. That's the other kind of discipline to save yourself. You would set stuff up so that you can't, like people lock their fridge, right? Because they weigh 500 pounds. Well, I put a lock on my fridge and I just, ate the combination to it. It should turn white here just as you cash out. So you get that slight bit of privilege on the way out. If it's red, you're getting stopped out. If it's yellow or green, whatever this is, you're making money. Okay, so the bid's got to go up 2 pips. A pip and a half. Can we do it? 9:30. Okay, so now we got this 5-minute window. It's crazy, right? 9:30, and then this 5-minute window in a market that's been beat down so hard. And I think this is right about where we're cashing out, actually. Just right here. It's this, we're looking to go like a pip, one pip almost. First cash out. Yeah, very boring, isn't it? So, okay, nice on the tick chart there. I got that pullback there. We got to take out that. Okay, making new highs. 5-minute window. We got 4 minutes left to go spiking up now. And take this ticket off the table. Okay, we're at 0.3 of a pip. Well, I guess not. On my other platform, it does go white. I swear to God. Here, not so much. Oh, well. Anyways, we're cashing out. I'm not going to chase it. We're taking stuff off the table. I see the margins going now. And that's a good thing. So, you got 600K, we got something here. It's easy to hit that clicker. I suppose I could get out here. I'm up $12, so I'm up $23. Yeah, it's like, it's like about $70 a pip. Fluctuation there. So that's the other disturbing thing about this trade is getting in really big. Of course, I'll be getting out of something here, and I'm going to run them right now. This is a 15-minute buy limit. I think I was running this in the last video. So it's pretty close to the market, 2 bips. So 15 minutes. It should be about a 2-hour. Now that's where it's very difficult. That should be a 2-hour instead of a 15. But the 15's kind of like low risk. If it comes back in there and it tags it, so if I see it dropping really fast, I'll come in with these. But this is like buying the lows. This would have to be like an 8-hour script. This is going to buy 20 pips deep, which is this arrow here. When you're running these things, you can tell how many pips deep it is without looking at the grid, because if you wrote the script here and you're describing how many, this is 10 to 20 pips with a 30 pip stop. Yeah, you're like, that's 20 pips deep. Now that could be a 4-hour script, but then I wouldn't click it too much, because if you click it, if you wait an hour to click it or 2 hours to click it, this is where the robot comes in. So if you were to stake out a robot to run a particular drop system on a particular night in a particular market, that's what almost you had to do. It's like, really, I want to put in buy limits that last 4 hours every hour. So every hour it's dropping, you're getting a better price in kind of this. And some could last for 8 hours, but if you're going to commit to buying 70K, then when it comes down in and it hits it, you know what you're risking roughly. Even though, so a lot of robots take indicator criteria and make a decision. This one that I have is just going to literally drop as a task, as just a complete loop dumbass thing. Okay, 5 seconds to 5 minutes after. Here we go. So here's the 5-minute traders. We're going to go to them. They just updated the 5-minute chart. And we got a doji. So that's the trend trader's entry, right? Buy that doji. Buy now because it's quiet, right? Sell here, it's quiet. Like if you're a trend trader on the 5, you got to babysit the market, and you would just sell. It looks simple, this is actually the only price action or lack of price action entry system I can even think of. Whereas you saw the 5-minute chart, you're like, okay, well, let's sell. Now, it doesn't mean that you couldn't got stopped out here, right? Because look at that wick. Maybe you sell here. This is a top, become a bottom on the line chart. And then you sell here. This is the trend entry. You sell again. But at some point, man, you got to take profits, because right now you're back to where you got in. So now what? Okay, now we have to pull. Maybe we have to come back to here now. So can we take out this now? It's gonna be harder, right? Because we had this big 5-minute thrust. Took these stops out. I guess we're still kind of cleaning house here. Now we got the stair step. I think of the void fill, but you can see how that void's being filled. So there's the fill, really. So now we could come back, because that would technically be the fill part. You know what I mean, Vern? Vern was this guy that put his hands through the window. This would be your top, become a bottom. So if you're going to do a line chart, this is swing high. This would be, the guy kept saying the 50% pullback, Fibonacci. I love how people argue 50 versus 618. Dude, it's a pullback. Just don't want to get that complicated about it. Okay, so this would be your perfect entry, but maybe we don't get that. Maybe we just get, it's just like at the end of 5 minutes, which is coming up in 2 minutes. We have a buy stop here and a sell stop here. Now we did get trapped there. And that's why you can't tell robots to do this shit. Well, what you do there, I thought you said just put a buy stop and a sell stop on either side of a doji. Yeah, well, okay. Well, this is why people came up with the rule. Well, I'll put my sell stop here and my buy stop up here. That'll solve that problem. Okay, but you're risking more to solve a problem. You're buying insurance, but you get whipsawed here. What if you get filled on both legs? The robot gets filled long, he gets trapped here, then he comes down here, and you have an arbitrary order here, whereas this should be here, I suppose. You know, where they won't get it. Oh, this cracked me up so bad. I remember getting stopped out of a trade once, and I thought, where they won't get it, dude. You could put a 500 pip stop on that thing, and the news comes out, and you're in the guppy, and it's like, okay, the Japanese are making British sushi or something, doing something. Holy shit, the market went berserk. And, geez, hit my stop with slippage. Oh my God, like, I don't even, when I get stopped out of a trade, slippage isn't something I've ever even noticed, because I'm like, it's like, well, gosh, am I going to nitpick through? Oh, you know what? There's like half a pip of slippage on that trade. People say slippage. I think they're talking about the spread getting so fucking wide that it's like, oh, that was a brutal fill. That was like, they took out my stop. So this fast market. Okay, we're waiting for about 30 seconds left in the 5-minute chart. So I want to get cash out of this thing, go up. We'll go to we'll zoom out. And this is the most mind-blowing thing about forex is you zoom out one click and it just changes the whole picture. We got to go hunt down this price now. And there'll probably be a lot of sellers up there. But that's only my scalps to make up for this beat down. Because I don't know how far it's going to drop into this void. So just buy all the way down. The dollar yen used to do this. It would go down for 4 days in a row, and then on Friday it would retrace and give back the whole. It's crazy, like dollar yen. This is the week of euro dollar. So down, 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 and then comes ripping back to like this price, all the way back to here. Not to the high of the week, but at least, we try to make it to here by the close. And if it takes that out, this is the window, I suppose. Final closure on that will probably take a while. Let's go to the 5-minute chart. So we got to pull back on the 5. Starting to sell off here. So really there's only one chance to buy this on the 5 is if it closes down. It's a pullback. I don't care if it's 618. Yeah, it just wouldn't matter. So yeah, you gotta wait, unfortunately. Oh, I'm sorry, we'll go to the 1-minute chart. I know a lot of people, they love this 1-minute chart because there's a lot of price action. It's like a whorehouse. If you're in the working women, look at this 1-minute chart. Jesus Christ. So here it would be obvious that you would start buying below that 1-minute thing when it came all the way back out of that giant hole, which, how long did that really last? I guess about an hour. And here is the ultimate entry on the 1-minute chart is you take out this low and you're like, Jesus, man, that's just this little hole down here. And then now that's sniper territory. So the 1-minute chart looks like we're going to go for a breakout run. You got a baby hammer. Yeah, baby hammer. Cute little pullback. Okay, we're about to make a new high. No, maybe. Oh gosh. See, now the spread tightened up on the bid there. Now you're a pipette from taking out that high. Oh, she rejected. She just couldn't follow through there. 5 seconds after 1 minute. So when you're on the 1-minute chart, it's going to be 5 seconds after 1 minute. Can she close up there? Oh, she just broke out. Okay. That's about as far. If you zoom out any more than that, it just becomes almost a bar chart. Like here's pure bar chart, 1 minute. A hint of a candle, but this is about it. All right, so this is the big goal. Is this big sell window up there, which is on the 5-minute. Looks like that. 15. Of course, in the 1 hour, you can zoom in. Yeah, it's coming up on that gravestone looking thing. Yeah, so the scalpers are getting out here. I suppose they're dumping. And basically in, 1 hour, in less than 1 hour, if you bought this thing, even on the way down, if you loaded into this thing, it was dropping, buy more. Actually, buy a lot below here. And then you're out, you dump, and it's like, that might be $300, it might be $30. Here it's 46 at the moment, 51. Okay, so it's like in 1 hour or in 15 minutes. Okay, here's the 15 minutes going to update. 15 minutes just came in. We're about 10 seconds into the 15-minute chart. All right, we're going to break out, make a new high. It's funny, you don't see the doji here. You got to go to the half-hour chart to see that doji. It doesn't really exist on the 15. Okay, now we need some insane rally. We got to spike the ball now, I think. Take this out. Now, if we close above that, it just means I would hold. I could picture, if we close above that, I figure that we probably get trapped up there and sell off. But I'm trying to make 100 bips. If I'm trying to trade this thing through the whole cycle now into opening of Europe, and then, so before Europe opens, it's probably either going to rally or sell off. But it's like where it gets to, and there will be sellers up here. But if you're in for the long haul, the next 3 days, then you got to close above that. And so the sellers will come in here. I can kind of have a couple scenarios for that. We come up, and it's just a nice screaming rally, and everybody's all giddy, and it's just like, okay, sellers come in here, and whether we pull back to here or here, irregardless, you've got to cut through this and bang into that, take that out, and then it would just be and I guess you could trail your stops, But I'd let the market I'll see the market kind of leave the station before I get too giddy about moving my stops, because it's a lot of work on one case. And I typically don't do it because I'm either cashing out of scalps, and I don't think the position's going to be big enough to I'll just take the risk, because at some point it's going to get to the threshold, and the market closes in less than 24 hours now, so you kind of just get out, get back in the weekend, because when it completes this wave, you may have a target that's 100 pips, but we may only make 50. So you just can't think like that all the time, like this, oh, that's my target and that was my entry, and yeah, right, you're just a genius. I just don't think it works like that. I mean, there's no way that it works like that. If you look at the charts, like, really? What do you have? So I think the weekly does matter here. The daily does matter. But wow. Now, people could have been short this thing in some kind of, on the daily, saying, well, I use no nonsense, and I think it's really good, What I did here is I got in, see, I got here, it's going down, so I wrote an algorithm, it was very tight, and I got in here, I made this, and then I moved my stop, and then, oh gosh, lo and behold, I made this. Yeah, but at some point, you gonna take profits on that? And if it keeps going down, yeah, how many times does that happen? So here's a big down, closes under here, rips back up in one day. I'm going to get out. I mean, I wish it would keep going, but I'm probably getting out of something. I know I'm taking 20. My targets are typically going to be 8 to like 40. And if the news is coming out, maybe the market's going to move 60 pips, but pretty rare. So I wouldn't even care. If I sold just before we fell in this hole, I'd be happy to cash out here. Because now, like, how much momentum's really left in the downside? Okay, it's almost... Let's go to the 5-minute chart. Let's see if I missed my entry. I was supposed to buy my pullbacks on the 5. Fuck that up too. Okay, wait. Do we even get a... We got a bearish candle, right? God damn. It's hard to zoom in. Okay. No bearish candles. Look at that. Just doji upon doji. It's very indecisive, you know. That's what that candle is. Look at that. Never a pullback, man. Wow, so there's really not even a chance to buy. It had to be on the 1-minute chart for that pullback. Okay. Here's the trip line. So I figured there'd be a lot of people cashing out here. Yeah. Oh, it's just crazy. So as soon as it breaks out, I'm going to go watch a movie. I'm going to just let this thing go. I'm really close to cashing out of something here. I know. I can see the lines. Let me turn off my entries. So I'm just going to look at the stops. Since I'm in the trade now, and I'm not going to buy anymore, I should have another screen running that just has the exits. So those are my exits and my stops. And it's long only, so I can keep track of that. Oh, the ratio is pretty good right there. I got this greedy ratio in here. Let's go forward chart. So, you know, I'm cashing out before we even make it back to the big boys. Target's probably going to be like up in here. You know, this big giant falling out, which is about 100 pips up. You know, it's 100 pips from here. So if I swing trade that, I would just hold that thing, and what I also would do is run these buy limits trailing beneath it, but not these double clicks. And those disappeared, you know. We never got filled on those, so we're not even getting a chance to get on the train here. Unless you're on that 1-minute chart, there is no pullbacks available. Zooming in. All right, so let's go for the delete all objects. All right, so that's just buy limits that I don't, and they don't see the entries aren't showing up because I got the entries turned off. The only thing that you can see, that's why the arrow's on. I know a lot of people don't. You can turn the arrows off inside the code, but I like them to see. Okay, I put those tickets in. Okay. Now this could be a lot closer for 15 minutes, but there's nothing special about these scripts I wrote. They're just, I guess, like a vaccine, though, like an experiment. But they're just kind of like trash, you know, like, I would just like some story you wrote for a very particular situation. Custom fit. And the conditions have to be, the market has to be dropping, and you're throwing these buy limits in front because at this point, unless the market really rallies, and then if you put the buy limits in there, they're too tight. So it's all about the fit. But there's plenty of chances to get the fit right with these micro lots because you can just pepper the chart in these various ways so that you can get all the. I got some. If my buy limits have deleted themselves too early, right? Because it's less risky. Then I definitely want to get into the market. Like if I came into this platform right now and I looked at the half-hour chart, the 1 hour chart, I'd be like, oh, fuck. I'd be, let's run buy limits like this. So I'd be like, it's got to pull back. And I would just feel like, well, I can't chase that. Maybe I'd go to the yen and I'd buy the yen on a bounce here. And I'll come up here and go, okay, let's put now the yen. Look at this. I could probably get filled on this. Look at this. It's dropping. This thing moves like a... Dude, this thing moves twice as much. Look at it. The same script is probably going to fill here. Now, if I tried this script on the euro... Okay, maybe it could fill, right? It's putting the lines here. So I can delete the arrows and still retain my entries. All right, it's almost 10 o'clock. So here is the critical. It's 5 minutes to 10. Let's go to the 1 hour chart. Can we take out this wick here? So we've cleaned out we took out the half hour wick. Shit, let me zoom in. We took that one out. And the nice thing about the top of the hour, it's going to update the 5, the 15, the 30, the 1 minute. Everybody updates here at the top of the hour. So there's quite a bit of... Okay, we're coming to the floor. Now, can we reject this floor and go screaming up? And now we're in the seller's window. Anything above this, we're in the seller's window. And how, if it's a failure, right? Because people started selling these new highs, old highs. But this one, you got to be crazy, right? Because we want to sell here. If tops become bottoms, we want to sell up in here. Right, this is it. Can we crash through? Let's look at the 5. The 5 is about to update. Don't forget, this thing's down 100 pips in 3 days hard. Okay, now I'm looking for a possible climax at 10. Rip up and pull back. Half hour chart. Yeah, pretty nasty. So this is a big critical window. This is that 5 minutes before and after the top of the hour. All right, so if we can clear out, if we can get into, take out this high, then if it pulls back, I would just come in with these limits like this. Since these are custom limits, you got to wait for the right time for these to make sense. So if we were up about 10 pips right now, you got to get the expiration to match what you consider to be the rate of change. To exploit this expiration idea, since this is the 1 hour chart, if your orders last for 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, they're gonna be pending down here. And you would have made money from that rally? Or are you trying to get into a position so that you can get out here? That's different. Because your targets, if you're going to buy this plunge, you may have to have, because they're double clicks, you can throw in a 10K with one click. So we could have 10K inside of this. These guys could be written with very dense, 20Ks in there. And inside there, believe it or not, you have a target of 3 pips, 4 pips, 5 pips, because you got to make this $10 and $20. Almost guaranteed, right? You may have a master stop of 25 pips on that, but inside there, there's 13K that you just bought and made like $5. And man, it sounds like much, but 10 of those is 50. So the market goes into that. Look how squirrely this tick chart's getting here. Look at the jaggedness of that. Freak out. 10 o'clock freak out. And that's what pays the rent. Typically, that's what pays for the air on the tires and the gas in the tank. Because you may be hauling something. These truckers must be doing. They're hauling stuff. They got to buy gas, tires. I mean, they got these things tweaked out with wind drag, aerodynamic cab on your truck, right? Because every little bit counts. Okay, 10 seconds to 10. And so, yeah, the dollar could be in serious trouble here. They're printing money. It's about to take out that high. Boom. Okay, so here we go. It's 10 o'clock. All right, so we have to just let this thing go. I'm going to let it just go, cash out, whatever it's going to do. Is the trading, mindlessly trading said, just whatever it's going to do. Look at this Bitcoin, though. Look at the weekly Bitcoin. The first time we've had a signal, so to speak, a setup. Oh, shit. Let's see. I just blow up my recorder. I know this screen's just was fucked up. Okay, so look at this perfect entry. And I would have been cashing out of this just for the scalp of it, right? Because when you come down, actually on the daily, so on the daily, Bitcoin, if you trade it like a market without this psychotic idea that it's going to go to $10 million, yeah, it's just another instrument, really. I mean, another trading thing. Here's a daily. Like, holy shit. So here's the edge of the abyss. Closes under. Another wedge situation. It's the perfect setup here. Where's my damn tools there? Oh, we don't want that one. I don't have it in my trend line. Really? That's there. Okay, last on the list. So here's another wedge into the trap, and a lot of dicking around at this pivot before trying to leave the station, but it's so clean on the weekly. One level of zoom in. So here's that wedge. Breaks out. I think most people that are conservative would cash out into this floor or this one. It overshoots the runway. Probably the biggest rally in Bitcoin in a long time. And now it has the potential at this point. We have to take out this trend line, of course. But I could see this scenario, possibly, right? I just lost my tools here. Yeah, I'm locked out of my. Oh, here we go. So this is the scenario I'm sure people are hoping. Come up here. All right, sellers come in a little bit. Come down. Break out. And just go berserk, right? Sellers are in this window. Okay, we figure that. Comes back. It survives that. And it just keeps on going, right? And we could even do, there's enough data now on the weekly to put up your classic trend line or trend channel kind of ideas. It's like this stuff here. We're going to go, well, can't you see it's going to go just like this? It's like a pitchfork. Copy this over. I got Andrew's pitchfork there. That's what mindlessly trading girl was talking about. Here, I like the quad fork. This is like an American pitchfork. You know, you don't want your food flopping around there. It's not about chopsticks. And I know people, oh, I got in here. Yeah, you know, well, ran out of sellers. And so that's your bullish argument for the Bitcoin. Right? The quadruple pitchfork. Okay. All right, we took out the high of the last hour. It's 5 minutes in. Let's go to the 5-minute chart. Okay, people are dumping and selling here, it looks like. They're selling. It's the first pullback to come, it looks like. And if I had a tighter limit, I'd put it in because that was too far away. Anyways, that's that. I gotta go get me some bad entertainment.